The Lowell Thomas Award for Best Radio, Audio, or Podcast, sponsored by Deborah Amos. The citation goes to Marlon Bishop, Maria Hinojosa, Nadia Raymond, and Stephanie Lebeau of Latino USA for A Border Drawn in Blood. The award goes to Gregory Warner, Laura Heaton, Marianne, McCune, Michael May, and Jess Jiang of NPR for The Congo We Listen To, an episode of the Rough Translation podcast. Heaton, a freelance reporter, decided to revisit the 2010 story of mass rape by militia groups in a Congolese village. She found that the real story was far different from what had been reported, and she worked to find out why the women chose to hide the full story.
Thank you. So I was in Nairobi when I met a freelance journalist, Laura Heaton. She was just starting her career. She'd come back from the Democratic Republic of Congo and kind of accidentally discovered that this big headline-grabbing story, the largest mass rape on Congolese record, had not actually happened. She reported out the story for 2 years. She published her findings in Foreign Policy, and then she was attacked. And she was attacked by American aid workers and advocates and friends of Congo. And the reason she was attacked had much more to do with how we talk about sexual violence and our taboos than the way these issues are talked about in Congo. And it struck me that what Laura was experiencing was something particularly challenging to this work that we all do. We're telling stories from overseas, but our audience is invariably hearing it in their domestic frames of reference. This can be a convenient shorthand. It's very easy to talk about Donald Trump-like qualities of a foreign politician, but sometimes things get lost in translation, and in Congo, this mistranslation had real consequences. What Laura and I discovered when we revisited her reporting for audio was that it mattered very much how Westerners in donor countries were hearing these stories of rape in poor countries. The fact that Congo had become known as the rape capital of the world was affecting how these stories were collected, what questions were being asked by Western reporters, and how women were telling their real stories of suffering. This collaboration with Laura became really the incipient episode of our new podcast called Rough Translation, which I make with a bunch of wonderful people. Rough Translation is it's about how the conversations we are having in the United States are playing out in some other corner of the world. Our second season launches in a few weeks, so I hope you'll be listening. You'll pitch us stories. We obviously love working with print journalists, and we'd like to donate the cash award to the Pansy Foundation, which helps restore the lives of women in Congo. Thank you to them for helping us tell a more nuanced story, and thank you to OBC.